Hey everyone, today we're out deep in the woods of Maine and we just found a little moose on the side of the road. Gotta be careful, it might be waiting for its mom, so I'm gonna stay very close to the truck. It's just sitting right there, and it's a smaller one. Not the worst moose I've ever seen. It is a little bit scuffed up though, meaning it's been scratching because of things like ticks. It's just sitting there, laid down. You can see we're starting to drive in a lot of mud. The snow's melting, it's mud season. No mama moose in sight, but it could be waiting for the mama moose. There it goes. We'll get a shot of it walking from inside the truck. A little baby moose. Alright everyone, back in the truck. Let's see what this baby moose does. I'm just gonna try to drive around it. Don't want to scare it too far in case mama moose is actually looking for it. Doesn't have any fear. Look at this. Not really any fear. We want it to run into the woods. We don't want to just chase it down the road. Yeah, usually they have more fear than this. So try to go around them. Come on. Pick a side. Alright. You stay off to the side. It's gonna go around you. Oh. Come on, moose. Go into the road. Get out of the road. Yeah, usually this happens at night because you have headlights and it blinds the moose and it makes the edges of the road look like dark walls. Never had a moose not get out of the way in plain daylight when it can just... Alright, we'll go around them. We went around them. That moose was moving at least, so I don't believe it has like... We saw a moose last year, it had what they call the deer zombie virus, and it's a brain worm and it makes it walk in circles and stuff, be confused. That one might be in early stages of that, honestly, but it did run and react, so that's a good sign. Look at this culvert, everyone. Zooming into it, see it? It's being forced up out of the ground by frost heaving. So that one's gonna have to be dug up and put back in deeper in the spring once the mud season's over. Using the four-wheel drive out here because it's muddy enough that I'll start fishtailing. There's a lot of moose tracks in the road actually too. Maybe we'll see some moose tonight. The sun's gonna be going down in about 4 hours. Here's a pretty muddy, rutted up section if you can see that. It was definitely a lot worse if I was here a week ago. Now that the snow has melted and it's a sunny day, it's starting to dry up pretty nice. Some of these dirt roads, if the right conditions, you could have it raining in the morning and dusty by the afternoon. It just takes a little bit of full sun once the summer months come along. Right now we're at a location, this road has washed out before because of the beavers, but their pond is very, very low, so I don't think there's a beaver problem. Look at that, you can see my giant pile of sticks right there. I'm gonna get out for a moment and just take a look at it. See if we're gonna have a beaver issue this year. Last year and the previous couple years, we have made a lot of awesome videos here, and yes, the beavers are 100% here. Back in the fall, if you remember my latest videos of the area, this used to be a little trickling stream, but now, downstream, it's a giant beaver pond. You can't really tell from here, but you can see the water is being held up. I'd say at least 2 acres of land right here is flooded, so all this woods is eventually going to die as the trees drown. These are all sticks we pulled out. This right here is all sticks we flushed through the culvert. And right here, it's a little bit, this is just collapsing a little bit, the retaining wall. Not really a big issue to the road. But yes, I see fresher beaver marks. This is higher than it was last year, meaning the beavers are still building it up. This right here is where the road got washed out when the pipe underneath us got plugged. They intentionally build the road like this. They want it to wash out where the pipe isn't. Then they can just come in with a dump truck, spread it out. They don't have to go find a new culvert or locate this one. These are all the sticks we've pulled out in the past couple of years. And this water looks very high compared to the end. It's already getting warm out. The beavers are becoming active, so it looks like we are gonna begin having beaver problems at this location again. There's already new beavers after they were relocated last year. Yup, there's a beaver dam in here. Yes, there is. We have got ourselves a beaver dam. Well, nothing left to do but get the big high boots on. All right, everyone, I'm about to enter the culvert pipe, and I got my headlamp on upside down. And I have this really big diving lamp I'm going to be using in there today. I just put a magnet on it with a nut, and this will be holding our camera on the inside there upside down. Got the rake. Now, if these beavers were smart, they would stop damming the pipe because that's what gets them relocated. If the beavers would stop damming the pipe, eventually over here on the other side, this dam they have is eventually going to make the water be halfway filled in the pipe at all times. So they won't even need to dam it like this anymore. Unfortunately, a beaver's brain doesn't work that way. All right, everyone, I just stepped down into the beaver's pond. You can see the small evergreen trees are already dying. The small trees drown faster. So just me stepping in the water, the beavers probably already know I'm here. But now it's time to go on inside the culvert pipe. All right. Hopefully there's not too many mosquitoes in here this time of year. We're still getting some deep freezes. I'm going to align camera number 2. That's for editing. It's a lot easier. So it looks like it's going to be a very simple one, thankfully. But now that the beavers are causing water to back up into the pipe, we were not going to have as much elevation loss, I think, in the upcoming months when this becomes a problem again. So I'm going to go ahead and put you guys upside down, up here on the ceiling. Maybe a little bit closer. Find a good spot. It already looks good in here without even using our lighting. Red, blue. There we go. That looks really good using the big diving lamp inside here. All right, let's get to work tearing this dam apart. I'm gonna start off by removing the big stuff behind it, which is enforcing the dam, just so it's easier to knock out. Everything I'm throwing behind the camera should get pushed by the blast in a minute. That's usually how this one goes. That's a very thick log. It's a pretty big pond, so we don't have to conserve water. We're at the point where we're going to start releasing it. It looks like the majority of the dam now is just mud and smaller sticks. We already got down the reinforcing stuff. We also got to be careful because even though the weather's colder this time of year, even This pipe is notorious for leeches. Time for a takedown. Got good flow. It's pushing everything out. Wow, everything got pushed out. We're almost done. This one went really nice. I even hear some rocks tumbling. Gonna grind around with my feet. Clear up a little bit left. All right, everyone, the dam is completely gone, but we have a little bit of stuff to clean up at the beginning. You're gonna see me over on camera number 2 now. Trying to get out some rocks so the beavers can build against. Once we begin them tumbling, they usually get sucked through. All right, camera light off. Time to go look outside. We're all done in here. And we are flowing really, really good, everyone. Here's what the exit of the culvert looked like before. And here's what it looks like after. A whole ton of good flow. And if we look behind me, here's what the beaver swamp looked like before. And here's what it looks like after. A whole bunch of good flow. Now let's get back up to the road. Take a look at the beginning. So I did take out some of the sticks just so the beavers can't build with them more downstream. Here's the entrance of the pipe. You can see a lot of current. Look at it sucking in debris, mud, sticks and stuff along the bottom. Here's what the entrance of the pipe looked like before. And here's what it looks like after. Yeah, so the beavers will bring sticks in here. Rocks, that's what they use as a foundation on times of low flow. You saw there wasn't too much going through the pipe when we arrived. Give it a couple hours. There will no longer be like 18 inches of water going through it. It'll drop down to like a little trickle, and this pond will be down very, very low. You can see the bathtub rings around it. Sometimes in the summer, We usually find it bigger dams that are up to like here, the rust mark. But that was really good. Came apart really, really fast. And let's hop back in the truck and look for some more spring preventative maintenance we can do. So last year I walked all the way down this road, and this beaver swamp downstream goes really, really far, especially after the logging company spent a few years trapping them. Now there's more beavers. They have a better home down here. The issue is there's probably a lot more beavers now that are gonna keep coming upstream and messing with this. Ever since they were trapped last year, the beavers have yet to mess with this. You see, there's so many little sticks, tree stumps sticking up out of the water. This was flooded for years and years. There's also another beaver swamp up there with a big dam across the valley if we walk up there. Of course, they installed a piece of junk plastic culvert, already sinking, probably mostly crushed by the spring thaw, frost heaving. But this is another one they usually plug up. They plug this one up. Usually it doesn't cause an issue. It just backs up a little bit, then it floods over to the bigger pipe we were just in. It's also mating season for frogs. I hear a lot of that going on down here in the woods. Sounds like wood frogs, the same type of frogs I raise and film at my house every season. All right, everyone, we're gonna continue on our adventure. Let's see if we can find any more blockages today. Boop. Had to run over a few trees to get in that parking spot. It's unlikely we'll see another vehicle today. Now we're running over that busted pipe that they just put in last year. They're never gonna learn about the plastic pipes until it's too late. Those plastic pipes get crushed out here with the rough winters. The metal ones will last decades before they eventually rust out. All right, this road now is a bit snow covered in this area. We were stuck in the snow a few days ago on one of these roads, like a dozen times, but the winch really helped with that. I'm not gonna drive into any snow that deep again, because I was actually bottoming out in that a few days ago on a much higher elevation road. This one is, for the most part, nice and clear. Now, we may not have another way out of here. We might have to go back that same way the moose was. Oh, some turkey vultures just flew away, if you saw that. We might have to go back, and if that is one of those zombie mooses, it'll still be there. It'll definitely still be there. Right here looks like we got a little bit of erosion. You see on the left side, we got some warning flags. A lot of these culverts were completely washed out last season. At least this one's not one that's scary. Like, there was a few that were washed out. There was just a big crack in the road with a river running through it 10 feet down. Getting a little snowy around this corner. When there's snow still on the road, it means frost heaving is probably very active. Frost heaving can mean there's water under the road. It expands, making ruts and stuff, but it also can make hollow cavities or mud-filled cavities that you can sink into even when the surface of the road is apparently dry. Coming up around the next corner was one of the biggest washouts I've ever seen out on the main logging roads. And it was closed for quite a while. They completely rebuilt the road, but they didn't even unclog the culvert pipe while they had all the heavy machinery out there. It made no sense. You know, when you have a road crew come out and rebuild a road, usually that road crew would also go ahead and unclog it. This is the one last year. It was severely clogged. It looks like it's passable this year. But before I drive across it, I'm gonna get out and inspect it just in case. because this was a really bad one last year. So maybe someone remembers this from last year. Looks like in the middle it froze. That looks like a frost heave coming up in the center right there. So this was completely taken out last year. Looks like heavy machinery actually may have just put this in. That might not be a frost heave. That might be done by heavy machinery this year. It looks like they did unclog it after all last year before winter hit. I don't see the debris we saw last year, but it looks like it probably washed out again at some point because they put new rocks here, new fill. Something went wrong again since last year. I think what we see here, this is actually what was clogged in it. Logs that were much too big for myself to move. All right, everyone, we're taking a ride up this road, and you can see at some point this year it was a raging river. Look at this. Do I even want to go up here? Got through it. Wasn't that bad. Mud's not. It wasn't not as bad as a few days ago in the snow. We got through it just fine. And it should be even easier going downhill through it later. So we're coming up this road. There's always a beaver swamp in years past that's been blocking it. Last year they actually cut down all the trees. They graded the road up really high, put a new pipe in. No, they did not put a new pipe in, but they graded it really high, which means the beavers have a potential now of building an even bigger pond. You can see right here we have a clogged culvert, so it forced everything out into the road. We'll take a look at that culvert on the way back. Since this is a dead end, we'll be coming right back through here. There's another pipe. That one's open. It's also plastic. Alright, everyone, I've got to the spot I wanted to show you. We're not going to head any more down this road because it is a dead end, and historically I've never found anything out here over the past 5 years of exploring this area. But on the way back, you've got to see some of the stuff I just drove through. There's a lot of sinkholes and washouts we're going to stop at and explore. So this road right here, for years and years, was a very tight road through a bunch of trees. Now they regraded it very, very high. It says stop. Trail closed for logging, but that's talking to the ATVers, and they're not even logging this time of year. 100% not. Their logging trucks would get so stuck in the mud. But you see on the right side, the beavers used to clog this up all the time. And actually, take a look at that. If we zoom in, you can even see the beavers' old lodge right there on the right side of the screen. I remember a few years ago when I was showing this, everyone in my comments was complimenting the beavers on how nice of a lodge it was, because it looked like brand new lumber. The whole thing was bright white because they had just stripped all the bark off the wood. And we can just plow over this tree. It's not too high. I just wanted to see if they had moved in again and flooded this, because a new beaver, all they have to do is flood it and they could easily renovate that old lodge. That's what young beavers will do a lot. They'll renovate the old lodge. But this was always flooding because the culvert was always clogged. But the beavers were relocated, so we don't have to check on this one for a while. But the one we saw at the beginning of the video, we're going to have to do periodic checks on. This right here was also part of the same beaver pond. At one point, this was also flooded. If we keep driving up here, this eventually turns into a very rugged ATV trail. And I got nothing else better to do today, so I'll take the next 10-minute ride up here just to see if there's any more washouts I could show. But this road was just redone, so I'd be surprised if there was anything too messed up on it. I could be the first vehicle here, because you notice all the tire tracks are under the snow. Some might be on top of it, but I don't like the look of this bridge. This bridge is starting to sink. You see the little stream under it? It's around a corner, so that's the side it would be eroding. And during the spring thaw, this thing will really flood. I see the grass all pushed over on the sides. Look at all that debris to get stuck up there. So check out the bridge deck. This right here is the snowmobile ATV deck. This is for the logging trucks. Let's go over onto this bridge, which doesn't look compromised. Gonna take a look underneath here. That's definitely slipping and sliding. Always inspect these bridges before driving over them. If you think you're the first vehicle of the year and you think no one else has inspected it, that looks okay. That looks okay. That also looks like a smiley face. Just trying to figure out how much ground we'll potentially give if we go over this. These right here, that's moose tracks. Just taking a look. Well, I know there's nothing else up here, but I think we're pretty safe on this side of it at least. We'll just avoid that little section there. All right, I'm gonna take the chance. I'm just gonna stay away from that erosion area because it does look as if it does collapse, it's not like we're gonna completely collapse. The bridge deck is also not gonna collapse. It would just be a little bit of snow on the edge. All right, we made it over it. And we'll make it over that on the way back, but it definitely needs repairs. All right, everyone, you can see over the winter time they were definitely doing some logging while the roads were hardened and muddy. I mean, not muddy, frozen. I don't think they modified the ATV trail at all. This is the end of the line. You can't go any further without an ATV. But there is a very beautiful beaver pond up here, and I think, are those beavers or ducks? Oh, I got excited for a moment. I thought those were beavers, but they're ducks quickly moving away. That wasn't really worth it. I inspected this bridge just to drive 5 minutes ahead. All right, go over it. Don't stop at the edge where it could potentially. Did I poke through it? Nope. The wheel just slid a little bit. Slipping a little bit up the snow. We're gonna be very muddy when we get back from this. All right, everyone, this road's starting to get very muddy. It's like driving through wet concrete right now. There's gonna be a lot of mud to clean. Right now I'm averaging 7 mpg just because the roads are so muddy. Before we hit the dirt roads on the main roads today, I was getting about 21 or so. But this stuff really bogs you down. Uses a lot of gas to push you through deep mud and deep snow. I see lots of hoof marks in the middle of the road. Lots of moose active this time of year. It's their mating season, so as soon as it starts to get dusk in a few hours, hopefully we'll see a lot of moose out on the roads. And I'm gonna get out up here on this road before we get back to the main artery a couple of times. I wanna show you some sinkholes and heavy erosion. Okay, you see right here, it looks like they're marking areas to be logged. That also might be flood areas. Yeah, take a look at the right side of the road. You could tell the water was running very, very heavy there. Lots of erosion out into the road. Lots of debris really up. And I want to show you this one. I drove through this. It was a little bit scary on the way up because I sunk pretty deep. I'm going to try to go around that even further to the left. We also got a culvert underneath the road right here. See, here's a close-up mark, close-up look of those hoof marks from the moose. So I sunk into this. It's very, very soft. You see basically a little landslide because the water was going by here so fast. And that culvert might not even be reachable. It looks like it's probably way, way underneath. Yeah. So we have this tiny little stream right here. You see they marked it with blue ribbons. I guess this logging company, it makes sense. They use blue for water. Sometimes they also use blue where there's beaver issues, telling you, once again, it means water. They often flood it. So I'm guessing it's right underneath this because that's a little waterfall. That looks like a stream that occurs anytime it rains. So the culvert is probably feet underneath this mud. They're gonna need the excavator to find that. And if we zoom up here, look at all this erosion, little landslides just like this one. Now we gotta carefully get around that. Yep, this culvert is not gonna be reachable today. All right, we gotta go way around that little sinkhole or whatever you want to call it. It looks like it's gonna be more steady over here on this shoulder, and I'm not gonna stop. Go by it, some speed. All right, didn't sink into it that time. Not one bit. Look at these big areas of erosion. Want to stay clear of those. Don't get anywhere near it. The whole thing can slide the vehicle over into the ditch. A little bit down the road, just stopped to show you this one. Is the culvert crushed? Well, there's our answer. It also may have got lifted out of the ground by a frost heave and settled back down. At the bottom of the culvert may also be rusted out, and it just took the soil with it, making the road sink. All right, everyone, we're coming up on another culvert, just like the one back there, but a whole bunch worse. All right, so first thing I'm going to point out to you is on the outfall side, there's a whole bunch of sand and rocks in the woods. Why is that? I'm going to guess that right there got washed through the pipe because it's undermined, and I didn't take a look at it yet. It's also kind of scary driving over this because it could be hollow. It held me the first time, so hopefully it holds me again. They came out here with the trimming crew last year, and this is only 1 year of growth. So actually want to get down in here and take a look. Yeah, the bottom of the pipe is gone. Am I able to focus in on that? Very rusted, so let's go take a look. I'm guessing the bottom of the pipe has holes in it. It just let everything through as the water was gushing through it. But keep in mind, this pipe has probably been here for decades and decades, so they got their life out of it. These things are always most detectable during the spring thaw because that's when the highest flow is coming through. All right, let's drive around this. It is possible it could sink, so we'll take it with a little bit of speed. We're gonna have to fix that. A lot of times the logging company will just put a band-aid on it. They'll just push it in with the grader, a bunch of new sand right over it, smooth over it, just pretend it's not there so they don't have to pay for it. A fix like that could last a year, could last a little bit longer until the next big storm. So those band-aids do often work, but eventually someone could fall into it because there's just a hollow cavity under there they're prolonging. That pipe's not very deep, so it'll never be that big of a hazard, but when they put a band-aid on a pipe that I find sometimes it's buried 3-4 feet down, they shouldn't be doing that because someone could actually get hurt in a hole that big. Look at the erosion here. So what happened was there's a culvert pipe right here which is clogged. We're gonna see if we can unclog it just a tad. All right, so I just got out. There's a culvert right here that's supposed to be taking all this water down into that ditch and off into the woods. It got clogged and came right way out into the road. This was a ton of water. I doubt that will even be able to fit through whatever culvert's in here. If we can even find the culvert. I'm just curious what the culvert looks like. I wouldn't be surprised if the culvert's not even here. I bet the culvert is probably multiple feet below this. It is. The mouth of the culvert is like 6 inches down below what I'm even touching. I want to go look at the other side because you see that amount of water right there in the road. That's huge. If this pipe is anything smaller than a 2-footer, that's really ridiculous. How big is the pipe? Even from this side, this needs a dredging. I won't even be able to tell you. It's either 18 inches or maybe even 12. So that one right there I deem is not even worth messing with because I'll spend a little bit of time there. Probably could get it open with the rake in 5 minutes. Then what's gonna happen, the end of the pipe I showed needs a dredging. The sand and stuff is built up right into the exit of the pipe. Opening that up is just gonna help it silt up even more. So they need a bigger pipe Probably won't get a bigger pipe. The ditch also needs to be very well cleaned out. Right up ahead is that mess we had to drive through at the beginning. Alright everyone, here's that mess we had to drive through at the beginning. Let's be very careful not to bottom out. That's my worry. Alright, we're gonna tip a lot. Alright, we're doing good. We're doing good. Drive over the culvert. At least we're not sinking that much. Felt like I hit something. It's okay, it's soft, the material we're driving through. And we're through. Yeah, so look at this, the drainage ditch couldn't handle it, so it looks like all the water from this hill just went right across this intersection here. Oh yeah, it did. Look at this. All that water we just drove through. The ditches aren't even working. Everything drove across the main road there. Look at that. I mean everything. This was a raging river going across this road. Still has a little trickle. And it's all supposed to be getting caught by the drainage ditch right here, which is non-existent at the moment. Hasn't been dug out in a very long time. So, do we want to keep continuing down this road? Let's see how this is. This is also a notorious washout at the bottom of this hill. A bunch of the big washouts that we used to have on this road, they've actually since replaced with bridges. I also see a lot of mud sliding down into the ditch area. So we just gotta be careful with this one. Keep it nice and slow. Careful with it. Let's try to get up this nicely. Alright, snow's not that deep. We're doing alright. If we're going up it and getting traction, I don't really have a issue going down it because it's not completely snow covered like we're gonna slide on the way back down. Just gotta be very careful going back down it. Look at that drainage ditch. This part, the drainage ditch actually eroded wider where it's scary steep going into it. We're gonna fit underneath this tree. Don't have the chainsaw today. Gonna get a little brushing. Alright everyone, this part of the road is not as deep as where I got stuck the other day. So I'm gonna proceed a little bit. There's actually really no depth in the snow at the moment. And it looks like it's gonna open up again. This is the highest elevation point of the road. It will start going down again a minute ahead. So if I can get through this, we'll be okay. But this is also ice. The part that looks kind of translucent is ice. The snow off to the sides and the ditches is well over a foot, so here's the moment. What's it gonna look like going down the other side of the hill? Not so bad, because this part of the hill, the sun hits. That little section of area through the woods, it's completely shaded. The road got no chance to melt out at all. So it looks like the road will be good for quite a while longer. Look at the mountains up ahead. That also looks pretty beautiful. Nice. And we also have a lot of moose tracks in the road again, right in the center. So maybe we'll see some friends as the sun starts going down. It's now 5 o'clock in the evening and got about 2.5 hours of light this time of year. We're now starting to get into the later part of April 2024. These are actually my ribbons from last year. I marked it, and this is one of the roads, if you remember maybe 10 minutes back in the video, I was mentioning sometimes they just smear stuff over the road. It's a Band-Aid fix. And it certainly is a Band-Aid fix. Look at this. Less than 1 year later, it opened right back up because the culvert is rotted out. Let's go take a look. Alright everyone, you see, it's a Band-Aid fix. All they did was make this road passable for a few months last season, and it opened right back up. It's just going to keep on opening back up. You see the bottom of the pipe, very clearly, the bottom of the pipe is missing. It rusted out. Rocks and sand tumble through it. removing the galvanization. That's going to happen basically anywhere you put a metal culvert. Still, the metal is usually thick enough to last 20 or 30 years beyond that. It has reached the end of its life. This culvert needs to be removed and replaced. It looks like a 2.5 foot pipe. They got to dig it up and replace it. I could try to get by that. I'm not taking that risk. Let's take a look at this. Those are my markers. I put all these ribbons to warn people the previous year. Looks like someone actually stuck that one in the ground, broke off it, maybe stuck it in the ground, it looks like, to warn people. The thing is, look at this. The ground here is moving still. Look at this. Hollow underneath here, all the way. It just hasn't collapsed yet. So, someone else drove over it a long time ago. There's no actual fresh tracks in the last day or couple, but that's an ATV. Look at this. Wow, look at the hole there. Look at this big crevice. I'm afraid to get that close to it. That's a deep crevice. Look in there. That's a very deep crevice. Actually afraid walking between the crevices because I could sink anywhere. I'm afraid to get a little closer to that. I could absolutely sink anywhere right here. Maybe if it was super cold out, I'd try driving over it, but I know for sure this ground is not frozen. Nobody should be going over this at the moment. Nobody. So, I'm gonna get out my marking ribbon and a big pile of moose poop right there. We gotta turn around. Maybe we'll do some more exploring back the other way. All right, made it very visible for anyone who might be driving down here to make sure no one crashes into this. This is not gonna hold anyone's vehicle. Maybe someone with giant Jeep tires might want to go through that, but the average pickup truck, no one's going to want to go through that. The only reason I left it passable is in case another ATV wants to take their risk, but I made it very, very noticeable so people can get out and inspect for themselves if they are on an ATV. They're going to want to drive through that fast just to make sure. I want to make it very noticeable so someone doesn't break their axle or get severely stuck in the middle of the night. And we made it passable in case someone on an ATV wants to take their risk through that. Made it very noticeable. Now we'll try to go around from the other side. It's a couple-hour detour, but we'll stay out all night. Maybe we'll see some moose soon. So we're gonna go down this treacherous road again that we came from, and maybe we can check on that zombie moose, see if that guy is still out here. Alright everyone, this section of road is very muddy, and mud can sometimes be just as slippery as ice, and I don't want to get over into that heavily eroded drainage ditch. Just want to go very, very slow down this hill towards a very sketchy culvert pipe at the bottom, which looks like it has erosion, but not that bad. I also don't want to slide in the mud. These trees will maybe catch me. I don't think they're big enough. I think I could roll, and it's like a 70-foot drop down to a lovely creek. Alright, that's over. Now there's still a little bit of erosion, and this culvert pipe has a very high embankment, meaning both sides of it go way, way down. And by the ruts and everything, it looks like they recently had to fill this back in right before the winter, meaning this probably washed out again. Not that bad. I was slipping a lot going up it, but going down is not that bad. Alright, we're good. Coming back up to where that heavy erosion was of all the water crossing over the road. Alright everyone, hope you enjoyed those couple of time lapses. Right now we're back to where we did that unclogging at the beginning of the video. You can see where I parked. Just curious, are the beavers already on scene clogging it back up? They usually do clog it up really early. Probably not, but I just want to show you how much the water reduced since then. All right, everyone. Didn't drop as much as I thought it would, but I think it's only been an hour and a half since we've been here. Look on the edge, you can see the water line. I'd say it dropped about 8 inches, still probably has another foot. I remember I did say, I estimated it'll drop 18 inches or so. Looking inside, still completely clear, but knowing beavers, they'll be back on the scene tonight once it has completely dropped down to where it's manageable. Because I had a funny video from last spring, actually. If you want to search up post 10, beaver dam collapses as the beaver's building it. The beaver kept going in there with sticks. They'd get moved away. The noise of the dam continuously collapsing would scare the beaver away. That was kind of cool. Let's take a look at the other side. It's still running very heavily. The beavers downstream, I'm sure, love that water. Look at this. Look at this one log running through the swamp. They must have loved that type of tree. I think that's an aspen tree. They ate all the bark off it. They love that. They love eating bark. That's their main source of food. All right, everyone, I've been driving down a different road now for quite a while, using a lot of gas because I'm kind of bogging down. I'm sinking into like mud on the surface. Now, is this going to be where we have to turn around? There's probably a clogged culvert. A lot of water's been going over the road, but actually the road up ahead looks okay. If we can drive through this, we're fine. I just want to get out and figure out why the water was going over the road. We might have a big clog. So yeah, we've been sinking deep into this. There's no other fresh tracks. No one else has been out here for at least a few days, I'd say. Water was gushing here. Look at all the debris evidence. You see all the stuff piled against trees? Yep, the water was up that high. So, good flow going through here. And I doubt any road crews have been up here since. I think we're gonna proceed down the road. I think we can continue up this. Just want to take a look at the pipe, see what we got for a blockage. Ooh. Yeah, got a blockage today. And look at this. This was all underwater, way up in here. This whole area pooled. It was probably circling like a whirlpool. Then it filled up, went right across the road. Yeah. Let's see what we got. Ooh, this is one of the old-fashioned pipes. These ones are awesome. Look how thick that is. It's a very thick pipe. Nice. Nice, nice. We're gonna unclog that one. Where does it come out? Yeah, very beautiful thick metal pipe. It's a lot bigger than I thought it would be. So we gotta get out and get to it. Then we'll go looking for moose more. This is probably the last unclogging of the day. It's a good thing we didn't find it full like that. It would be way too dangerous to go near it. All right, everyone, we're just gonna drive through this and we're gonna pull over up there, then we'll get out with camera number 2. See if we can get up over this easily. Yep, not even slippery. We're gonna pull over right here, even though we probably won't see another soul out here. This will be a quick one. I think it'll be a very quick one, but I think a very nice result. All right, everyone, we are making our way down to the culvert. Everyone, that was just for camera alignment. I think even the sand right here that the camera's sitting on is going to start eroding. I think this has built up a lot of silt. So once I start unclogging this, I'm probably going to have to move you guys. Let's get to work. It's a little bit worse than I thought it was. That big piece is temporarily stuck. It'll go through though. This has been clogged up for years actually. There's another big log I gotta get out of here. There we go. Oh, the big pipe just went through. The big log just went through the pipe. The junk I'm throwing through built pressure behind it. There is so much stuff that eventually has to erode out of here. Well, we got the pipe open just about all the way. Look, there's even roots in here, so that'll help it not erode actually. But neglected long enough to have tree roots. All right, everyone, we did good. And wow, it only took 5 minutes to do it. So now, where we're standing right now, eventually, hopefully this will erode, but it's been like this a while. There's roots mixed in with it, lots of sticks holding us together. So next time we come here, we're probably going to be dealing with another clog. This looks like a 2 foot, maybe 2.5 foot culvert. And it's a very old one, and it'll be there for probably another century. The metal on that thing is so thick. That was sure awesome to see. Here's a little view of inside. Looking good. Washing the mud off my boots. All right, everyone, so at the moment it's running a bit dirty. It'll be done eroding pretty fast. It's really not eroding too much more since it's being held together with roots and all that. There's that big log eventually got sent through. This water will clear up pretty quickly, and that pipe, I believe it is big enough that it should have accepted all the water that was crossing the road. It's a 2.5 foot pipe. I think everything would have fit through there. I think even before it was completely blocked. That's probably a decade in the making, the way there's roots in it, the way it was put together. That's been a clog long in the making. All right, everyone, we did good. All right, everyone, that one went pretty well. Let's see what else we can find out here on these dirt roads. Looks like right here, water was also going across. So that's also a tiny culvert that doesn't even look like it's running at the moment. Can we even see that pipe? It's completely open. It just got overwhelmed during the storm. Here we are to one of those sections again. The road is shaded from the sun. We have a mountain blocking it here, so this part of the road just does not melt. Hopefully I don't get stuck. At least if I'm able to keep my wheels on the edge right here, we should be okay. It's trying to pull me because it's icy, but it looks like we're okay. And more than likely we have to go through all of this on the way back, because this time of year there's no road inspections. We're probably going to come across something like this. The entire road is sinking, but I'm going to take my luck and go over it because it's such a shallow pipe. Yeah, didn't sink too badly. Hit the back wheels with a little more speed. Yeah, that pipe is eroding underneath, just like some others we've seen earlier. I just hope this road doesn't get too bad. I hope that we are able to pass through it. I know there's quite a bit of it like this, but we'll see. Don't want to have to do too much winching, if any. So we have a little bit of edge we can put our wheels on, but it's not like it's solid edge. The ground's not frozen. How's it look around this corner? Any better? Yep, the whole road clears back up, so we're good. Just have to be very careful right now. There's also a couple little sinkholes in the road, because what happens is in the winter, as water expands on the... Whoa! Oh my gosh, we sunk deep. We sunk deep, but we have the winch. I'm not worried. Damn. Yeah, we're gonna have to winch it, I think. All right, everyone, the winch rescued me. The truck got stuck very deep. By the evidence, I don't see any scuff marks. It doesn't look like I actually bottomed out, but I got very stuck in the mud. And this was in front of the front wheel. A big rock goes way down in there. And then there's another rock. There was rocks right in front of the wheels. So that was a bad coincidence right there. And look at this. I have the trailer hitch on this thing. The trailer hitch, the ball hitch, dug right into the ground right there. That's what those scuff marks are. That's the trailer hitch that was dragging through the mud. But we can keep on going. And on the way back, I'm gonna just go through this with a bunch more speed. And if we don't, not a big deal. We'll wrap it around one of the trees. Although the trees here aren't very big, it still worked. We just tied it on a tree. It was a little less than 4 inches in diameter, but we did it low to the ground and it had enough strength. We didn't rip the tree out. All right, and we're gonna keep on moving now. We had to use the winch earlier this week because we were stuck in snow. That was a lot more of a nightmare. This We're already back out. It looks like the road's starting to dry up. Better remember this on the way back. I wonder what that was. Maybe there was some rocks stuck underneath. Hopefully I didn't break anything. I don't think so though. But we'll hear it fast if there is anything broken. But we were going really slow when we got stuck. So I don't think we would have broke anything underneath. I think it's just little rocks and stuff stuck underneath that are going to continue to fall off. This also looks like a place that could be a nightmare. It's usually on hills, a nightmare for frost heaves. If we get stuck one more time, we're going to call it a night and turn around. But just keep an eye out for holes. Like back there, I saw holes everywhere. I was actually just mentioning how the frost heaves will push up things, and also it leaves hollow cavities underneath the road. But right now I'm trying to keep a good amount of speed. Not too much speed where I can slide off, but I don't want to get stuck again. Okay, I think we're good. Hopefully we don't even have to come back through here. I'm hoping this road is passable, but because we're one of the first vehicles of the year, I'm not very confident in that. I'm also going to be furious if there's a gate at the other end of this. Sometimes they gate only one side of the road, and this is a road. It takes like hours to pass. Oh, there's a turkey in the road down there, if you saw that. I'll zoom back in during editing. So this side of the mountain, you see there's really no snow, because this side of the mountain's been being defrosted a lot by the sun. Back on that other side, a lot of frost heaves are going to keep being persistent there because the sun doesn't hit that side of the mountain. I got stuck a couple years ago. I was stuck in the 19 hours until someone eventually came down the road to pull me out. And no one would have came down that road for weeks, but I got a very weak signal at the top of a hill. And my insurance company, which is Geico, that they said they'll pull me out of any road as long as it's on Google Maps. It doesn't matter if it's a road like this. It doesn't matter. And I got that in writing too. They said even if their guys won't drive their tow truck out there, they'll reimburse me for whoever pulls me out. So the guy who came to pull me out just brought his pickup truck. He said if he would have brought his wrecker, it would have been like a $20,000 bill, which is insane. So he told me, you can pay me $800 if you want to pay with a credit card and follow me back to my office, or you can give me $400 cash right now and we'll do it under the table. Thankfully I had some cash on me, so he just did it underneath the table. He probably wanted to avoid some taxes, but that was cool. We have another issue with culverts. To me, it looks like a lot of water running over the top. It looks severely undersized. It's a mess. It is a mess. It's all falling apart. It's got to be replaced. There's no fixing that. It actually came apart at one of the joints, but the bottom is still rusted out. If you look up ahead, there's a grouse bird probably going to run in front of me. It's like a small chicken. See it? They always run in front of you. They'll be there calm. Oh, there they go. I've hit quite a few of them over the years because of how they act. They'll fly right out in front of you into the grill. Okay, we better get out and look at this. You might remember a video I made back in the fall. It may have been a vlog video. I actually got out and flagged all this because I could see an issue about to happen. So I flagged this because I knew it would become a problem, and it looks like something I might not even want to drive over at this moment. We're gonna get out and inspect. It sure is a pain in the butt navigating these roads this time of year. I do see other vehicle tracks, like a full-size vehicle that went through here. But back in the fall, I noticed the culverts that were partially clogged with big logs I couldn't move. If I could move them, I would have done it. But I saw that as a potential for a huge nightmare come flood season. So I put up all these tags because I predicted back in the fall there'd be problems. Look at this, we got sinkholes, but I got to inspect right now. Am I willing to drive through here right now? We're right now on a huge detour because of that thing I had to flag earlier in the video. So, and it's a big sinkhole, but is it hollow there? Am I willing to take a chance that close? I don't know. You see these culverts are half clogged, more than half clogged now. If they were completely full, chances are all the water going over the road probably would have made it through there. Because I can tell water was going over it. Not that much, because again, they build the roads where it doesn't necessarily flood at the pipe. It flooded back behind us. I'll show you behind my truck in a minute. So I gotta be careful here. Could be sinkholes underneath where I'm walking. Could be. I don't want to get stuck. Could winch myself out. There's a tree right there. Not the dead one, but that other one is big enough. I want to get down here. This is where the excavator goes. There's even excavator tracks here. Yeah, this was an excavator. So I bet a bunch of this junk was on the road. They just didn't fix the sinkhole yet. Look at all this junk. This tiny river floods so much. Look what I'm walking on. This is like a perfect little beach. I wouldn't mind setting up a little beach chair here in the middle of the summer. Going for a swim. So here's the pipes. Just this little bit of blockage made the river really, really flood. I believe it probably still would have flooded even without this problem. So, water washing through between the pipes is what caused the sinkhole up there. I need to go down on the other side now and make sure the erosion doesn't go all the way through before I dare think about proceeding through here. Other side of the road, also lots of debris the logging company pushed down. I have to get down here in the water. I have to make sure that there is not a gigantic issue. It's not like we're gonna fall into a hole so deep that we die in the car, but I'm gonna probably get stuck. Can I winch out of it? Maybe. Maybe. I just don't want to deal with that. So, right now, it's pretty treacherous walking on these logs that could shift. See, they are shifting a bit. The nice thing about Maine is the water's always very, very clean. And this is still a little bit of erosion in the water, so in the summer this will be even more clean in the plunge pool if you wanted to go swimming. Big, big pipes. Probably 7 feet. Okay, I don't see any erosion on the other side, so I think we're gonna take our chance over the pipe. Just avoiding that hole. Don't have a signal this far out in the woods, so you always wanna, ooh, almost fell over. You always wanna check these things. Better be safe than sorry. I know a lot of people that probably would have just drove over this without thinking anything of it. Yeah, here's behind my car. You saw how that river's going around that sharp corner? It jumps the river bank and it goes across the whole road here. As far as the eye can see was underwater with at least a foot of current. But not too much of the current actually went over the road here, if any. Just the severe height of the water caused that damage. And to the best of my knowledge, I think we're okay to go over it. I'm gonna do this with some speed, just in case. And we made it. Road didn't shift or anything. Better to be safe than sorry. So we got out and checked it. This was also underwater from that. Look at this. Look, this whole muddy section. Wasn't too much current, but that one little stream flooded both sides of that, a whole ton. But at least they built the road high enough where it doesn't take out the culverts too much. I believe they just have to fix that sinkhole, fix a little bit of the retaining wall, and they'll be good to go. This was also way underwater right here. Hey, look at this. This is one of our beaver spots from last year. Yeah, I think it was last fall actually. This was a pretty big one, if anyone remembers this. This also looks like it was severely flooding this year. Wow, it flooded so badly. I want to get out and show you this. Don't think there's anything for us, but let's just take a look. Wow, this road was flooding so much. You see all these erosion areas. There was multiple sections where water was crossing the road. You might remember last year this was flooded. I drained this beaver pond back. It's a secondary beaver pond. They don't live there. They live somewhere else. But I just knew during the spring thaw that the water would be blasting through here. But even if this pipe is still clear like the way I left it, so much water was going through here. I think that river flooded so severely just back there, the one we just inspected. I think this whole area was just underwater. So the water here might be stuff coming from that river. It flooded its bank somehow. Look what it put here. It put entire uprooted trees at this culvert. And we look down and it's really not even clogged. Not clogged really at all. There's a couple sticks here, but we're still not clogged because there's no beavers here at the moment. Still unclogged. It just got over capacity by 100 times. That might not even be an exaggeration. You see the debris built up around the trees? Some areas here had over a foot of water going across. The areas with current, it removes all the dirt, sand, just leaves the pebbles behind. Other areas where it's not rushing, like around that corner, it just leaves silt and a ton of mud. Wow, this whole area was underwater. That would have been the sight to see, but that time of year, I doubt you'd ever get a vehicle down here. That would have been fun on an ATV though. So this definitely has something to do with the river, which is right back there. It flooded this whole area. I think it's time for a bridge. And maybe doing some dredging quite a ways up. Oh, look at this. We got a big tom turkey showing off. The way it just stood up. I thought it was a bear or something at first because it stood way up, like it was trying to scare me away. Cool. All right, everyone, 2-hour detour, and got stuck once where we had to winch ourselves out, and we've come to the other side. We made it to the other side 2 hours later. Now a bunch of bad roads. Now we got to turn around and we'll just continue on our way. I just wanted to backtrack to this because I am inspecting the roads and looking for blockages at the moment, so I want to make sure I track every foot of the road and just make sure. So we're going to back up and turn around now. Right here's a bridge that the logging company put in just a few years ago after consecutive years over and over the giant culvert getting washed out. Now they have a bridge and it hasn't washed out since. They've got to put some more bridges in place of those 8-foot culverts. And you know, in reality, a giant 8-foot culvert like that made out of metal, you wouldn't believe what that cost. Each one of those things, wouldn't be surprised if they're paying 10 grand for that, because that's very thick metal. Now a bridge, if you think about it, it's just a wooden deck with 2 I-beams underneath it, and it's up on these cement blocks like we showed earlier in the video. I wouldn't be surprised if the bridge is basically the same price. That sort of bridge without a foundation. It can erode, they can go out there, they can lift the deck off, they can reposition the blocks in the spring. Maybe. It's very rare when there's an actual bridge with a foundation out in these parts. We got a culvert here, which was a little bit under capacity. It's got a little bit we can maybe pull out. Nope, that's actually a clump of grass, I think. Maybe. Oh, this thing's really jammed shut. Let me hop in the water. There's a lot of stuff in there. That's what there we go. Oh. Still, despite that debris in there, I think we're still, oh, it's gonna make it all the way through what we just sent. Still very undersized. You see the water had to go around. Very undersized. Well, tonight has been, oh, there it comes the stuff we just released. Wow, I didn't even know about that stick, wow. All right, we're all clear. It sure is a maze during the spring thaw. We can't go down this road either. We have one more road, which is our last hope. If we can't go down that one, it's gonna be a treacherous ride. Back, not treacherous, but we might have to use the winch once or twice more. I love this culvert. This might actually be a reused fuel tank. It could be a big above ground tank that they'll bring a tanker truck out here in the summer when the roads are nice and firm, fill it up with diesel fuel and run their machinery or running heating systems or something like that. I think it's an old gas station tank or something. Very, very thick metal. Look inside. Oh, that's their mistake. Oh my gosh. I gotta be honest, it lasted quite a few years. They got away with it for a long time. I've never seen the road broken in this spot. They got away with it for a long time. It's just a half a moon. They cut out the bottom of it for who knows what reason. I think that probably used to be a tank. And they just stuck it in here like a bridge. It's a very rocky bottom. It took quite a few years for it to eventually eat away and sink. I gotta give that to them. It lasted a long time. But it's gonna have to be modified. And because it lasted so long, they might just have to reposition it. Maybe they can get it to go a little bit longer. What do you guys think in the comments about having an open bottom culvert? Which might, I don't know, you want to call it a bridge, but still, What may have happened here also is it may have hit capacity. This is some of the worst flooding we've ever seen in this video. Like what I showed you back there, that one where I was a little afraid to go over next to that sinkhole, but this may have also eroded from the top. It could have been over capacity. It could have just went over the top of the road. Because here, unlike the other spots I showed, this is actually the lowest spot. It doesn't have a lower spot to go over the road. So it would wash out at this point. I think it may have just got over capacity. Someone looks like they jammed a few logs in there to drive an ATV over it. It looks like it worked. But I'm not gonna go through there because I don't know what could be hollow here. And I don't think I would get up over that. That's like from the pipe to that, at least 2 feet. So let's go around. We also got deer tracks. Looks like moose tracks on the other side. Once again, the only reason I didn't put this ribbon across the entire road is in case an ATV wants to take their chance. All right, we gotta find a place to 3-point it. And there's one more road that can possibly bypass this. All right, we're definitely not gonna make it back to that blockage I just put ribbons up at because there is yet again another culvert with a giant hole in it. Looks like someone with an ATV may have weaseled over it. So we're gonna set up ribbons at the triangular slants just like we did at the last one. All right, so take a look at this one. This is another one that I know my vehicle would bottom out on. That's another really bad one if you can tell how deep that is. It's almost a 2-foot crevice in the road. Yeah, the drainage ditch just gave up on the culvert completely. Look at it. It's crumpled, mangled. They got to replace it. The bottom's also rotted out. That's why the soil was able to get through. But now, it's just a river going through it now. Yeah, it's just an outright river. I know I'd bottom out on that, so. And I also know there's only about a mile of road before the next thing I tagged. So I'm gonna go ahead and tag this one. So I learned a new trick just now. See how high up that one is in the tree? It's a very skinny tree. I just bent over the tree, tied it, let the tree stand back up. Now we have a big visible ribbon from far away. All right, we gotta back up out of this one. At least we made it nice and visible so no one accidentally hits that in the middle of the night. What do we got here? Gotta get out and inspect for a moment before we drive through that. Hope I can drive through that. Okay, good news is I see lots of tracks from other people, so it looks like we just hug the side, we should be fine. This looks used. This looks like what they just pulled out of here. Oh, we're good. It's nice and stable, the rock bottom here, nice and stable. And look, it looks like the grader's actually the one who made this nice. It looks like they brought a grader out here the way it's all stirred up. All right, we're all good to continue. All right, everyone. I think we can continue through this nicely. It's not much of a hole. Just gotta go through it nice and slow. Yeah, we made it. I heard the trailer hitch though hit the bottom a little bit. We'll see if we can fix that sometime. Oh, we found another moose. This one looks like a full-grown one. We're not gonna follow it too long. We're gonna give it a chance to run off into the woods. Maybe if we stop, it'll stop and turn around and look at us. And I'll be able to zoom into it. It's usually what they do. Out of curiosity, they always turn around and take a look at us. Oh, look at that. Moose taking a look at us. All right, so like I said earlier, a lot of times the moose will be, they can't see the edges of the woods because we're making too much light. So we're gonna start by shutting off the off-road light, shut off the high beam. Now the moose's eyes should be able to see. This moose should be able to run off the road now so we don't stress it out and it keeps going in a straight line. Or I think there's actually a road coming up. It'll probably take that road. Or hopefully it keeps going straight because I kind of want to take that road. Maybe we can go around them. Just very slow. We might be able to drive around them. Yeah, I think I'm going to drive around them. because I think he's gonna run now. Because he's got a spot to go. Yeah, there was a little bit of a road, kinda. Yeah, there he goes. Running off into the woods. Get another good shot of him over there, see? There he goes, off into the woods. Why does he look like a smear? Is that on the windshield or my camera lens? Well, he's off the road. No more moose. I'm gonna try to wash off a little of this mud, actually. Oh wow, this noise is scaring the moose. The moose is running back down the road again. We'll give him a chance to get away. We're not gonna follow him and harass the moose. Give him a chance to run away. Just washing off all the mud because we went on a lot of dirt roads today. One more time and we'll see if the moose is still down in the road or not. I'm gonna do it one more time. Yeah, he's still on the road. He's literally staring down here. I can see his eyes glowing. Let's try and get all the mud off. It'll be easier to wash when I get home. Back here a moment ago wondering what's going on. Oh, good, he's gone. No, he's still there looking back at us. Could have sworn all that noise and commotion would have made him go away. It was just a curious moose. Just a curious moose. Finally running into the woods. Okay, good. They'll literally stay in front of you for a couple miles if you don't shut your lights off or give them some chance to run into the woods. All right, everyone, you might remember this location. I just turned down the road that I thought the moose may have wanted to go down, but this is the location. We unclogged this like a month ago, and oh, there it is. You may have remembered I pulled the grate off because I told everyone the grate's just gonna get clogged back up, and the only reason there's a grate here is so beavers don't build a dam down inside the pipe. They build it at the end of the pipe over this thing, so it's super easy to remove. I don't think there's beavers here. I have never seen beavers here, but they probably used to be a problem. And now that the spring thaw is just about done, we're gonna put this thing back. In the summertime, we might be here. We might have to unclog it again. But for the time being, I came by, just like I said I would, and I put it back. Even if it's 2 months later, I think it was more beneficial it being off than being on, so at least things could pass through it. All right, everyone, it's now dark, and I think we're gonna end the video here. This area, the grader has definitely been starting to fix it, so there's not anything huge. It's still bumpy and muddy. They can't really do anything about that until the roads dry out in the summer. But I hope today's video was interesting, everybody. Thanks for watching, and have a great night. All right, so I either have to drive back 3 hours through treacherous roads, or I'm gonna go ahead and try to cut this lock. One strike with a hammer, the lock opened right up, opened the gate, I put the pin back in it so it doesn't accidentally shut on someone driving by it, but what the heck? This gate is locked, but the other end of the road, it's open. And they're literally grading it and maintaining it. It's not in bad shape at all. I don't know why this would be shut. All right, so I'm not going to be an absolute jerk and just leave their gate wide open like that. We're going to go back there and we're going to replace their lock. So this is the one I hit it really hard with a hammer and got it to open. Otherwise, I would have had to go back down a road that I know I'm most likely going to get stuck on 3 hours back. I don't know why they leave one end of the woods open, but one end not. Well, anyways, we're going to buy them a new lock. What do you think? Well, they had a master lock, so I think I'm going to buy them another master lock. This one here, I can just tell by the weight of it. It's a lot better than this one that we pulled off. It's actually a little bigger, too. But it's a lot stronger. It's weather resistant, so I'll buy that for them. And we should be good. We're going to go put that back there. I also didn't have a Sharpie. I'm going to buy a Sharpie. I'm going to put a little note there saying there was no other way we could have got out of the woods, and it's actually starting to rain right now. So what that means is it would have been a huge nightmare. Those muddy roads that we got stuck and had to winch today twice, we probably would have had a bigger nightmare on the way back. So had to cut it. All right, here we are to that gate that I had to open. Should I shut it for them? I think I'm gonna shut it, leave it the way it was. And if someone else happens to be locked in, I'm obviously not gonna be locking it, but I'm gonna leave a new lock here. So they got a rock here holding on like a coffee lid. You pull the pin. Just like that, and here's the padlock I just got on the back of it. I put a little note, and we're just gonna go ahead and leave that lock right inside the little hole like that. Trying to get it in where it won't pop this lid off. I want to look for a bigger rock. There we go. Whatever worker comes back out here to unlock it will find that and hopefully put the new lock in the open position or whatever. It looks like workers come up here daily though, so they'll probably correct it tomorrow morning. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great night.